Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to see another program of Python, and today we are going to understand about how to use input syntax in Python. So basically, while you're doing this, you need to go on File and click on New, and this will help you to open up a new Python file. Henceforth onwards, whenever we are doing any programs, we will write them into a Python file. Okay, so we will start with creating the syntax /* program to calculate a simple interest. Now this kind of a syntax is basically meant for comments. If you have any program in which you want to write a comment, you can write it accordingly. So let us go ahead with writing down the first statement: print, please enter the principal amount. We will put this in quotes, and while taking the input, we will take it into the form where we will assign a variable with the name of p, and we will take the input directly. So it will be p is equal to input in double bracket open and close. Similarly, for the simple interest, we will take the input in the form of the rate of interest. Okay, so please enter the rate of interest in percentage. I is equal to input in brackets, bracket open and bracket close, semicolon. Similarly, print, please enter the number of years, double quotes, close. Now we all know that the value for number of years, the formula for interest is p into n into r upon 100. But you all need to remember, whenever we have been taking inputs from these three statements, they are in string form. So we need to convert them into either integer or float. So to do that, we will put it as int, where interest is going to be my value in which I'll be storing my interest, and I'll put it int in bracket p. Now this will convert the string into interest into integer star int I star int n. Now, so it means that whichever are the values that have been taken into strings, because by adding int will convert them into integer. And print in double quotes, the interest is rupees, double quote close, comma, interest. Right, now to run the file, you need to go on the top and click on run, then click on run module. It will ask you, do you wish to save the file? Click on OK. Alright, you can just simply type in any file name. Here I have typed in as interest and clicked on save. Now currently it's giving me an invalid syntax because the syntax that I have used over here was from C programming. So let's remove that. This doesn't work with Python. So we'll put it as print in bracket, double quotes, and yes. Okay, so let's run it again, run the module. So we'll saved it. So here it is, the program is running right now. So we'll enter the principal amount as 10,000. Let's put in the rate of interest as 10%, and let us enter the number of years as 1. So it is calculating us the correct interest rate as we have been told. Right. So currently we can go ahead with modifying the statement. Let's make it a little bit much better. Right. We can go ahead with checking out other interest rates also. but this will help you to calculate the simple interest rate. Okay, so let's run the program again. Okay, this time we will take some other values. So 54,200, let's put it as interest as 6.5, and let's put it the number of years as 4. Now here you are getting an error as 6.5. Reason is because we have taken the value as integer, whereas it should have been float, right? So let's go ahead with changing our interest rate as a float, because now if it's float it will be able to take an integer. And let's change it I as R, because the rate of interest R should not coincide with int. So let's keep it as R. We have changed both the values. Let's save it, and now let's run the program again. So this is my principal amount. The rate of interest is 5.2 and interest is 9. So the interest is 24,912.576, right? So the program is working fine and it's helping us to calculate the interest rate. Now the next program that we will see is how to calculate your compound interest. So it's again the same thing that we need to do. We need to go in IDE and open up a new program in Python. So you'll click on File, click on New File. Right now, when you click on this, let's type in print program to calculate compound interest. Okay. Now let's take the input. So now remember that you need to have your syntax in lowercase. So print in brackets, please enter the principal amount. Okay, and let's close the quote and bracket. Now we need to take the inputs of principal. So P is equal to input, open the bracket, close the bracket, semicolon. Let's take the other input in the form of rate of interest. So we'll put that in double quotes. Please enter the rate of interest in percentage. Right, so R is equal to in percentage form, right? So R is equal to input, bracket open and bracket close. Okay, now let's write down the third input that we need to take is in the number of years. So print, please enter the rate of, please enter the number of years. Okay, and n is equal to input, bracket open, bracket close. Now the formula for interest is amount minus principal. So we will do it accordingly. The amount formula is P into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to the power n. So it will be interest int P into 1 plus int R divided by 100 raised to the power n star star n. Yes, we need to also convert it n into an integer form, so int n minus so we'll put the whole in one bracket minus int p. Now this will help us to get the interest also, so we will write down print the interest is rupees and in brackets comma right and semicolon. So we will also calculate the amount that is accumulated. A is equal to, you simply need to copy the statement that is on the top and copy it and paste it over here, semicolon, and print this time we are going to print the amount that is accumulated. So while writing it down, we can write it directly as print in double quotes the amount accumulated. The accumulated amount value is rupees double quote A. So A needs to be in lowercase, so right, semicolon. Let's go ahead with running the file. So we'll click on run on the top, right, and click on save it. I'll save the file as compound and save the file. Let's see the file if it's running or not. So let's go with entering the principal amount as, let's say, 10,000. The rate of interest is 10% and the number of years is 1. So this is giving me a correct answer, but let us see if it is giving me an increased value in terms of compound interest. So let's run the module again. So run the module and click on, so let's put in 10,000 again. Next is 10 years, 10%, and the number of years we'll put it as 3. So ideally in a simple interest we would have got 3,000 as the interest and the total accumulated value would have been 13,000, but definitely in this case we're getting a larger value, right? So this was basically your simple interest and compound interest that we have seen so far. Now let us write a program to calculate your equated monthly installment. So for equated monthly installment we have present values and annuity. So we'll write the commands accordingly. Print in the brackets program to calculate EMI so print enter the present value of the annuity of the loan taken, right? Now we will name that variable as PV. So PV is equal to input and in brackets open bracket and close bracket semicolon enter the rate of interest rate. Okay, and then R is equal to, in percent form, right? So R is equal to input, bracket open, bracket close. Similarly, print we need to take the number of years that need to be calculated. Now remember that we need to take the number of years, it should be in the form of months. So whenever you take the number of years in case of EMI, you need to make sure that you multiply it by 12. Okay, so enter the period for which the loan is taken in years, right? So in years. Okay, and let's go ahead. Now ideally, if you have taken it in years, you will be multiplying it by 12, right? So if it is 0.5 years, so it will be 0.5 into 12 is 6 months. So n is equal to input in bracket. So we have taken all the three values that we need. Now we need to calculate it. So first, whenever you are considering interest rate, okay, the first thing is that the interest that has been given is in percentage form. So we need to convert that interest into float. Okay, so I is equal to float of R. So we have assigned a new variable to R, that is float, and we remember that there is a value of V which is 1 upon 1 plus I. Okay, right. Next is, we will write down the value of C, which is the EMI. C is equal to present value into I upon 1 minus V raised to N. So int PV, right, PV into I divided by 1 minus P raised to N. Okay, now we need to change N. I'm so sorry, I took it in by mistake. So basically this is N is equal to our period. We are going to take it as input, and this one would be your period. Okay, so raised to the power n. And so I believe that's our formula. Are we missing out anything? Let us think. C is equal to int PV into I divided by 1 minus v raised to n. Okay. Yes, it seems that we forgot to mention your I. So I is equal to float r. Okay, so we have convert that float, right, the rate of interest into a float value. Okay, so let's do that. And semicolon. Let's print out the EMI. Okay, so the EMI is rupees in brackets double quote comma C. For a period of bracket close double quotes n. Let's close the bracket. Right, months. Okay, and let's close the bracket over here and put a semicolon, and let's run it. So we'll go on run, click on run module. So source must be saved. Let's save it as EMI. Okay, so EMI. Now there is an invalid syntax. Okay, so the comma needs to be before C and not after C. So that's the reason why it is giving us an invalid syntax. So let's remove that. So it's before C, so we'll put a comma before C and we'll close the bracket. Okay, and we will take this over here. Okay, okay, so yeah, so we need to enter the comma before C. So there it is. Okay, and let's save the file again and rerun it. So we've saved the file, let's run it. So enter the present value of the loan taken. So 50,000, 5.5 and 2. So now it is giving me an error saying that there is a name error, floor. Oh, we made a mistake over here. I made a mistake over here. Ideally it should have been float and not floor, so I need to change that to T. Alright, and let's run the file again. So yes, so let's put it again, 50,000, 5.5 and 6. So now this EMI is way too larger for a period of 72. There seems to be some problem with our formula. What could be the possible problem with the formula? Let us we need to understand where exactly we are going wrong in this. So now ideally, what could be the problem? Let's go back and check. Now ideally, we have gone ahead with taking the period and multiplying it by 12. However, the float over here is in percentage form. So ideally we need to go ahead with dividing it by 100 to get it into a regular decimal form. Okay, so let's do that and let's run it again. So I'll click on file, run module. 50,000, 5.5 and 6. Now this EMI is still much higher as expected, because ideally there seems to be, if I'm going ahead with doing an EMI, this EMI would be much larger as compared to the principal amount borrowed, right? So it's going to 2 lakh and 2,283. So there seems to be some sort of a problem with this particular formula as well. Let's go back, right? Let's go back to our program and find out. Okay, so the 100 that have been taken, we need to actually divide it by 12 also, because the interest rate needs to be now in a monthly form. So either we can divide it by 100 and then divide it by 12, or we can directly divide it by 1200, or we can take it 100 into 12. Okay, now let's do this. Okay, now let's go ahead and taking the values again. 50,000, 5.5 and 6. So here it is. This is our correct values as we have expected. Okay.